into our fourth topic. Yeah, I was like, I just knew, like, I was like, yeah, it's not a lot of topics we got today, but I knew y'all was gonna keep the show going. So yeah, let's talk about Kraven the Hunter, which sad. Oh, child, the box office for them. I don't mean to laugh, but this is pathetic. And I'm like, yes, I love me some Aaron Taylor Johnson. I'm sure this is not his fault, but it's just Sony. Y'all are a mess. So Sony's first R-rated comic book movie, Kraven the Hunter, bombed in its domestic box office debut, hunting down only $11 million to come in third behind Thanksgiving blockbusters Moana 2 and Wicked. Now, shout out to Variety for this story. It says Sony Kraven the Hunter, a superhero spinoff starring Aaron Taylor Johnson as Spider-Man's notorious foe, launched behind already low expectations at number 3 with 11 million from 3,200 theaters. Well, to be exact, it's 3,211 theaters, which I don't even know why y'all put it in that damn many. Y'all should have probably put it in as many as that werewolf movie that came out, and their budget was way less than some damn $11 million. So it says it landed the worst debut for Sony Universe of Marvel characters behind February's Misfire, Madam Web, which came in with 15.3 million, as well as some of the franchise's lowest ever marks from critics and audiences, with a tragic 15% on Rotten Tomatoes and C grade on CinemaScore. That kind of reception signals that, barring a holiday miracle, Kraven won't rebound over the rest of December. Well, duh, because we have other movies that are supposed to be coming out in the next coming weeks. What else is because I was like, wait a minute, what other movies is coming out? Okay, so we had Lord of the Rings, The War, which we'll get into how much that made in a second. But we also have what other, I'm like, damn, what other movies we have? We have Nosferatu coming out on Christmas. We also have A Complete Unknown with Timothy Chalamet coming out. We have Mufasa, I believe, coming out this week on Friday. So, and Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which I believe Keanu Reeves and Jim Carrey are in. And that's getting good reviews. And a lot of people pretty much like Sonic. People like the first two Sonic movies. I'm looking forward to seeing Nosferatu. I've heard great things about it. I wish somebody would send me a damn screener so I could watch some of this stuff in advance and talk about it, because I saw like Drum Dums, who Haley, he and I chat a lot on social media in regards to, like, you know, if I comment on his stuff, he comments back, and then I'll tweet him online. Him and Mike from We Watch a Movie. I like how interactive they are when it comes to some stuff like this. So I believe that you know, I saw Cody Leach did a review on Nosferatu, said good things. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Lee from Drum Dums spoke about it, said some good things. So there's a couple of critics that have already seen Nosferatu, got sent screeners, and are raving about this movie. So I definitely want to see that. I don't know if I'm going to get to see it around Christmas Day, because I am working a Knicks game on that day, and I don't mind, because Christmas is like my least favorite holiday. So even if I work on Christmas, I don't feel bad if I am, because the whole essence of what Christmas is about, I don't really, I don't like, you know, maybe I'm a Grinch. I don't know. But I just feel like when I was a kid growing up, I appreciated Christmas more because it was like, yeah, Christmas gifts, da, 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 da. But now as you get older, it's just sort of like, I just feel like the true meaning of Christmas is just non-existent. So, now they said that, Kraven the Hunter is Sony's third Spider-Man adjacent adaptation of the year, following October's Venom: The Last Dance. The Alien symbiote trilogy, led by Tom Hardy, has proven itself to be a critic-proof and commercially successful, although the third and final movie didn't live up to the box office heights of its predecessors. And if you want to watch the new The Last Dance movie, I do believe that it is available to rent or buy on digital. So it's already out. So if y'all want to definitely check that out, you can rent it or buy it as you speak, or as I speak about this. And they also said that Sony has otherwise yet to produce a comic book hit from its offshoots led by tertiary Spider-Man baddies. Well, first of all, I understand that they were trying to at one point do the Sinister Six thing, but after what the hell is that damn movie with Jared Leto, the vampire, Morbius, after they tried to do the whole Sinister Six setup in that, it was terrible. They were like, let's scrap it. But then they started to continue to dig into the Spider-Man villain universe and give them their own movie. And it's like, it's not working. You need Spider-Man to kind of go against these people for it to make sense in the film. But yeah, when they were talking about, when I was reading about Kraven and I was like, y'all could give a spoiler. I don't care because I'm not going to watch it. Similar to like Madam Web, they were talking about like, this movie is so bad. There were people literally saying, do not go spend money to see this film. That's how bad it is. And I don't know if it's the director. I'm not going to necessarily blame Aaron Taylor Johnson because he's an actor. He can only do what you tell him to do as an actor and give your 110%. And one thing I've noticed about Aaron Taylor Johnson that I've watched in all his movies, whether it's a good movie or a bad movie, he gives 110%. And I heard he's great in Nosferatu. So you can't say he's a bad actor. He's an excellent actor. And there are people that are exceptions to the rule where it's like, even if they're in the world's worst film, they're going to give 110%. As an actor, you should. So I don't understand why they were trying to bring these villains in. It's like, well, yeah, because we can't use Spider-Man in certain things. And yeah, they're way better at their animation than they are with the live action. But they have a deal with the MCU where they can use Spider-Man and he works in what they're doing over there. But I feel like, I don't know what their contract is on if they can use a different Spider-Man because they have the noir Spider-Man noir movie coming out with Nicolas Cage. That's live action. And I think Sony's doing that. We'll have to just see if that one is actually going to be a good one. I don't know because I haven't seen anything. I think I've seen stills online of them on set, but we haven't seen a trailer. We haven't seen anything moving where I can critique on whether or not it's going to be a good film. So we have to wait for that. Madam Web, I don't understand the point of what that was. I already told y'all I did not like any of the Venom movies. So if I don't like the first one or the second one, you damn sure already know I'm not watching the third. Because that's not my judge. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, speaking of people who elevate the movie better than what it is, Tom Hardy's another one. Tom Hardy, I love him as Eddie. And I like what he was doing with the Venom thing. The movies as a whole were just crap. But I'm not going to shit on him as an actor because he did what he could with the material that he was given. Why is it that the people that aren't American tend to always show up for the roles, but the movies is always trash? Because Tom Hardy is not an American. He's English. And so is Aaron Taylor Johnson. So, yeah. So I'm not surprised that the movie is getting trashed all over social media and that critics are just, shitting all over it. One of the best reviews that I've seen of this movie, you guys have to watch John Campier's review. His actual, you can watch, like, he does like a long breakdown of it he did it on his Friday show, but his out of the theater reaction, even I think that's like under 2 minutes. Watch that one. That had me cackling because he starts out all calm and everything. It was like, yeah, so I went to go see this movie. You already know, like, I was so excited to see this film and da da da. This is the worst piece of shit. And I'm like, well, damn, you just did like a whole 360 from your initial, like, he was just cool, calm, and collected about it. And it just went and just shitted all over that movie. And I was like, that was the best review I've ever seen. And it was like under 2 minutes. So that was like, he gave you a TikTok out of the theater reaction version of this film. And like I said, Aaron Taylor Johnson, good to look at. They were talking about the 8-minute sequence that you saw online. It literally opens the movie. And then after that, it kind of just goes into this 30-minute video where you don't even, scene of where you don't even see Aaron Taylor Johnson for like a half an hour because they want to go into this whole backstory of young Kraven and how he got his powers and Ariana DeBose's character, who she plays like this, who is it, Calypso, when then all of a sudden he gets bit by a lion and she all of a sudden has this potion on her that's a secret from her family or whatever, and then she gives it to him and heals him, and I was like, chill. And then they were talking about like it's basically 9 different scripts that it feels like they just stitched together, like they put all the scripts through a shredder, just took all the paper, glued it together, and turned it into a script. And so it's like, I don't know if it was the director's fault or if it was studio interference, but I have a strange feeling this was just the Sony was interfering and all the research, it just turned out to be a mess. So let me hurry up and wrap this up because I don't want to make this all about me bashing a movie that I'm not going to watch. So in other news regarding of all the different movies that came out this week, I just want to let's take a moment and just count those abs Aaron Taylor, that is a fine ass damn man. But anyway, let's get into. That is a good looking young man. But wait, he's not young. Well, he is young. He's in his 30s. I ain't gonna go there about his wife, but let's just focus on this. So they said also this weekend, the Warner Brothers anime fantasy film, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the stumbled in fifth place with 4.6 million from 2,600 cinemas. Well, it's 2,602 cinemas in its opening weekend. First of all, I don't even think they did a good job promoting that movie. I may have seen the commercial twice rolling around, and I was like, I don't know if anybody's going to want to go to the movies to see an animated version of Lord of the Rings. Y'all could have just dropped that. I don't know who owns that. Was that Warner Brothers? Oh, yeah, they said Warner Brothers. Y'all could just dump that on freaking HBO Max. We would have watched it. I like the some of the animated stuff that they put on Max, like the Warner Brothers animated stuff. Y'all should just threw that on there. Why that's as kept? I just don't think the love and the hunger for Lord of the Rings is as prevalent as it was when it came out 20 some odd years ago. When Peter Jackson directed all the movies and then The Hobbit and stuff. Like it was cute when I back then when I watched it. But we had Sean Astin and Elijah Wood and Orlando Bloom and all of them. We liked it back then. And Sean Bean, who, they can't never stand not killing that man off in something. So, and they said the budget for that was $30 million. So any losses during its theatrical run won't be ruinous for the studio. Sidebar, speaking of which, I need to bring this up too, because John Campea mentioned this on his show. He said even though these movies are terrible and they look like they've been bombing left and right, Sony still turned a profit from a lot of their Sony Spider-Verse, whatever. And I'm like, he was right about it because the gross over, combined is $1 billion. And I guess because they keep the budget so damn small, like if your movie is 100 to $130 million, it's not that much of a loss. But there's just now this stain on you that you burn your audience. Where it's like anytime y'all put out a movie, they know it's going to be crap. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you a dumbass bitch. You a glutton for punishment, clearly. So I was like, yeah, I was like, after the disappointments of Madam Web, after Morbius, and I told you I went to the movies to see that. Still regret it. And then, the Venoms I didn't like and all that other stuff. I was just like, you know what? I just don't care. Like, I'm not watching anymore because I already know what y'all don't give. Like, movie after movie after movie after movie from this universe. They're crap. So, I was going to say, what else did they, they're talking about there is more Lord of the Rings coming out, but we'll see if it does well. Because they said the animated film was developed and fast-tracked to ensure the New Line Cinema didn't lose the film adaptation rights for Tolkien's novels, while Jackson and the teams behind The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit trilogies were working on 2 new live-action films for 2026 and beyond. So that's probably why it flopped. So y'all basically just stitched something together because we have two new two new Lord of the Rings live action movies coming out. One being called Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, which is going to be coming out by, actually it said it's going to be directed by and starring Andy Serkis. Now, Andy Serkis directed Venom: Let Him Be Carnage, Let There Be Carnage, the second one. He directed that movie. And he played Gollum in the Lord of the Rings movies. I think he was also in The Hobbit. I don't remember The Hobbit. I do remember Lord of the Rings because Hobbit I only saw it once. But Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, Revenge of the King, or Return of the King, I saw all of those multiple times. So he's directing that. And so y'all only did that just so y'all can keep the rights. I can see why it bombed. So I guess regardless of people watching or not, at least they got it out there so they get to keep it. But it got mixed reviews and a tempered beast on Cinema Score. And they said it also bombed internationally, with only bringing in $2 million from 31 territories. It's going to expand to 42 over in additional offshore markets. Now, Moana 2 retained its number one spot at the domestic box office, obviously, because it's animated and parents, kids are going to be out of school soon. So, yeah, the parents are going to take their kids to see that. And because of Moana 1, it's already a pre-existing IP, nostalgia. Parents are going to take their kids to see that, even though they said Moana 2 is not as good as the first, but doesn't matter. So it's getting close to $1 billion, moneymaker. Because it says that It took the number one spot in domestic box office charts for the third consecutive weekend with 26.6 million from 4,000 theaters. The Polynesian set animated adventure, which was originally commissioned for streaming. See, this was smart on y'all part. I'm glad y'all put that in the theater because y'all would have lost out on so much money if y'all didn't. And you already know they already filming a live action one with Dwayne Johnson reprising his role from the original animated films. Now we can say plural because it's two of them. So far, they said it has grossed $717 million globally. So it's the year's fifth highest grossing movie domestically and fourth biggest global release. Now, as far as Wicked goes, it earned more than double that of Kraven, where it stayed in second place with a dazzling 22.5 million from 3,689 venues in its fourth weekend of release. The movie has generated $359 million domestically and more than $524 million worldwide to date. It's the highest grossing Broadway adaptation in domestic box office history, ahead of 1978's Grease, which brought in 188.62 million, as well as the second biggest worldwide stage-to-screen reimagining after 2008's Mamma Mia, which brought in 611 million. So Gladiator 2 came in third with 7.8 million. In its fourth frame, it has so far brought in 145.9 million in North America and more than 398.5 million globally. So there you have it. And like we talked about before, we have other movies that's coming out in the coming, the rest of the year to finish out, which is, Mufasa, Sonic 3, Baby Girl, which is over at A24. And then we have Nosferatu, which is, I believe also, oh no, it's Focus Features. That's who's doing Nosferatu. And then we have the Bob Dylan biopic, A Complete Unknown with Timothy Chalamet. So there you have it. I'm not surprised, like I said before, I'm not surprised that, Aaron Taylor Johnson, as good of an actor he is, he's in a shitty film. And I'm really hoping that this is the end of this universe of like taking superhero Spider-Man villains and giving them their own solo movie. We don't care. We don't want it. The movies are trash. You people over there at Sony don't know what you're doing. You don't understand what people want. And then I saw an article on Twitter where they were bringing up, so does this mean that there's superhero fatigue? Or what's the future hold for R-rated superhero films? Does that mean that people don't want to see R-rated movies? Well, Deadpool 3 was an R-rated superhero movie, and we went to go see it. But we went to go see it because it was a good movie. So it doesn't matter what the rating system is. If you can tell an interesting story, if we can get cool action sequences, and we get funny dialogue, which is what we got in damn, I forgot that. Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, to be specific, then people will go see it. The fact of the matter was, it didn't matter whether or not you put violence or blood or whatever the case was, or gore in a Kraven movie. If the script is horrible, if the pacing is bad, if the movie is boring, it doesn't matter how much violence you put throughout a movie. The movie sucks, it sucks. That's the bottom line. And I feel like these people who are behind the scenes, if you're a numbers guy, if you're not somebody who's a creative, then you should not be making decisions on what makes a movie because you don't understand how movies work. This is why I continue to defend James Gunn and Peter Safran and that whole sort of thing. Peter Safran is the business guy that deals with those accountants and the crunching of the numbers and all other stuff. And James Gunn is the artist. He understands how to create art. So you have to have two people that can be contrast in that way. And I do the artistic stuff, you do the business stuff, you keep them people out of my damn business and let me steer the ship the way I need it to steer. And then you will be able to see the returns. Stop trying to copy over what you think they want over there with Marvel. Stop trying to copy and think you know what they're doing over there at DC, and just understand that how to create art, and stop trying to crunch things in regards of a number or look, this worked for this movie, let's put it in there. We already saw that. We don't want to see that in this. And the superhero stuff with these villains is not working. So there's that. So I sort of say, what do you think of this story regarding Aaron Taylor Johnson and Kraven the Hunter? Are you guys shocked that Kraven the Hunter bombed at the box office? I don't think anybody should be shocked. Even Helen Keller ain't shocked, and she's blind, deaf, and dead. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.